Good morning, folks. My name is Gary Bassett. I'm the training specialist at NFA for the training programs, courses, and the fire prevention public education curriculum. I will be conducting the graduation for you today, along with the folks on the stage. Dr. Dennis Neal is with us, Dr. Kirby Keefer, Deputy Superintendent, and Glenn Hayden, U.S. Fire Administrator. Deputy Superintendent, Deputy Administrator. We have a time-honored tradition at our graduation, and that is the Pledge of Allegiance. And we have a young man that we would like to ask to come up to lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe his name is Mark Wong. And Mark, would you be happy to come up here and lead us in that? Thank you.
Good job, buddy.
Good job, Mark. It looks like we have a number of guests in the audience, and I would like to ask those guests if they would stand, and we would like to welcome you to the graduation. Would you please stand for us? Would you give us folks a background? I would also like to ask those in the audience who have participated in the instructional delivery, the instructors of the courses that we have here, we'd like to recognize you. Could you please stand for us? We will be doing our traditional graduation here, have the classes come up front. The first class that we're going to graduate is executive leadership. And we're going to do the class rotation, but first we have a guest speaker. And it is my privilege to introduce to you Glenn Gaines, the Deputy Fire Administrator, U.S. Fire Administrator. I got it right. Thank you.
Well, as you're saying right now, with everything that's going on today, the environment, the financial situation, if you're not confused, you don't know what's going on. So, Gary, I fully understand. Plus, I held positions on and off, serving as acting administrator for a period of time, then back to deputy, then back to acting administrator, now I'm back to deputy again. So it's somewhat confusing, I'm sure. I want to first recognize Dr. O'Neill and Dr. Keefer for doing such a great job in leading this, what we consider our flagship operation here at U.S. Fire Administration. Also want to recognize our faculty who just was introduced for leading our efforts in the classroom, and well before, there are many nights and weekends that they spend prior to coming to the classroom to ensure that they are prepared. Any members of the USFA staff, thank you for coming and thank you for joining us this morning. I also want to call out Chuck McKell. Chuck, do you mind standing? I know you're Chuck, thank you. Also, Bill Stapleton and Al Blank with ATF for our great partners. Will you two please stand and be recognized? Thank you. You do a great job. Okay, this morning, the theme of my comments is where few dare to stand. You know, the longer I'm in this fire business, the more confounded I become about firefighters. These are people who have dedicated their lives in the service of others in the most extreme circumstances. They are a unique breed of human. They are not cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all public servants. Firefighters come in a variety of persuasions, including volunteer, paid on call, or full-time career. Many firefighters serve in dual roles as EMS, paramedics, and other specialty skills such as hazardous materials, rapid water rescue, and technical rescue. They come from a mix of municipal, federal, state, local, and private for-profit organizations. There are, however, a few tenets that all firefighters share. These warriors will virtually walk through fire to save human life. They perform magnificently in extremes of environments, such as heat, ice storms, 40 stories up, in caves, chemical plumes, and the list goes on. These unusual public servants perform unheard of physical feats to fulfill their commitment to their fellow mortals. They have a very tough outer shell. You know, there's nothing like them. Just click on synonyms using MS Word when entering firefighter, and you will see that even Bill Gates can't figure them out. There are no synonyms. Yet, we see tears appearing when the national anthem is sung in a special way. Or should they be unsuccessful in resuscitating a pet they rescued from a family's home. Firefighters have unequal passion for what they do. They don't ask for much, and they do not discriminate. They come to the aid of those in peril regardless of social status, age, gender, or nationality when presented with a fellow human in deep trouble. What we know is that tough outer shell contains a tender heart. I know in my case it came not from within, but something that was not forced on me and not based on a vision of grandeur or self-promotion or financial success. In fact, a mentor of mine said to me just after I announced to my friends that I had been successful in passing the exam for firefighter in Fairfax County. Glenn, man, with your energy and self-motivation, you should get into the private sector. You're never going to get rich or live happily working in government. I said something like, well, that may be true, but this is something special, and I like it. Turns out he was both right and wrong at the same time. I am happy and successful in ways that only those who stand in the blue line can appreciate. Firefighters get paid the same for what they do, from aerial rescues to giving blood pressure checks. Volunteers are paid nothing. So why should they put themselves in harm's way where there are no financial gains or other incentives? Firefighters, for the most part, are some of the great competitors of our kind. If you are interested in defining a firefighter's medal, observe how they react when presented with an impossible task. Watch them when opportunities exist to save a fellow human in distress. So what else drives them? Many firefighters are motivated by the extraordinary performance and historical honor and bravery exhibited by their predecessors, or the noble tradition of placing others over self. No matter how you feel about the old guard, they performed. They performed in spite of a lack of technology, personal protection, or the internet. It took weeks to get a story of a major fire in New York to the San Francisco firefighters. Today, San Fran firefighters can see it via the net, Facebook, Twitter, a friend's iPhone, or on YouTube. As I read about these early eagles of our profession, I have acquired a sense of responsibility to honor them with my own personal dedication. They taught us placing others before self is much more than the golden rule. Do right unto others without any expectation of a return on investment. If you are not willing to place others' lives as number one, who are in peril at the pinnacle of importance, then you are not welcome. There continues today an internal pressure to perform under extraordinary or severe conditions. You may be tired, in some pain, hot, stressed, but keep it to yourself because you know your team member is going through the same condition. Contemporary firefighters have learned that when the pain or the stress persists, it's time to admit it and seek help from professionals dedicated and trained to remedy the condition. You see, each firefighter knows that there's a real possibility that they may be depended upon by the firefighter sitting next to them on the rig to save their lives. There is no one else to turn to for help. They are out there on their own. There is no other resources coming. There was no one else to depend on other than their fellow team members. A new member is welcome only to a point. Everyone is waiting to see how they perform when tested. Perform, listen, respect those who have performed in the past, work hard, study, know your position responsibilities, and your end. As we attempt to understand these unique individuals, we find that ultimately they are desperate to be included and recognized and respected by their peers. This recognition and respect is worth the price of the pain, the hours of study, and the expenditure of unparalleled physical and mental effort. There is this opportunity of reassurance that you are indeed someone unique in the human demographic. You are someone who can be counted on, and you have the medal, the right to wear the badge. You are certain now that you have earned the right to stand in the blue line, on the line where few dare to stand. I wish each of you every success in your continued careers. May God bless each of you and your families and keep you safe. May God bless Americans stationed around the world, protecting us from those that desire to do us harm. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I'd like to ask the executive leadership class students and instructors, would you stand up for us, please? I know that you applied to this program over 4 years ago. And I know that you know and we know that this is your last class here in this program. But when you applied, you probably weren't aware of all of the real challenges, the high-level quality work and so forth that was expected. And what I wanted to say to you on behalf of the National Fire Academy, thank you very much for your commitment to this program, your successes, and we want to congratulate you for your work in this program here. Can we give them a round of applause for 4 years? Every program this level, this magnitude, requires a good, competent staff. And I don't have my glasses. I don't know if these people are in the audience or not, but a lot of these people who you have seen, you work with 3 or 4 years here, are part of the EFO program. Could we ask them to stand if they're here, please? Robert Bennett. Chuck Burkett. Bert Clark. Mary Marshall. Okay, can we give those staff members a round of applause? Could we ask the students and the instructors to please come forward to get their certificates? The instructors are John Gallis and Michael Mason.
Good morning. I have the honor and the privilege to say a few words on behalf of what is 32 students in the EL program. I'd like to begin by saying, Mark, job well done. Thank you very much. As I look out over these fire officers, I'm reminded of the words of President Theodore Roosevelt, and some of you are probably familiar with this. It's the Man in the Arena speech that he talks about. And he talks about how the credit actually belongs to the man that's in the arena. The man whose face is marred with dust and sweat, the man who fights for a good cause, and the man who knows the trials and tribulations of leadership. Well, I can tell you, these individuals right here, they're in the arena of fire service leadership. They're engaged in a worthy cause, and they recognize that leadership is not always easy. In fact, the majority of the time, I think leadership is very difficult. Yet, in spite of that knowledge, they choose to step forward and lead the fire service. And for that, I'm sure we're all immensely grateful. I know that I am. They have devoted themselves to the Executive Fire Officer Program. Of course, as you heard, this is their last in a 4-year program. Executive leadership was this course, and as you might expect, we talked about leadership theory, but also we had them go through a number of instruments to kind of have an honest self-evaluation. And the idea is to take the honest self-evaluation with some academic aspects of leadership, bring them together, and hone their leadership abilities. So I'm confident, as is John, that we're sending them back to their communities to lead their organizations, to lead the men and women of their fire departments through times that definitely be times of uncertainty and through times of opportunity. Additionally, as was mentioned, they're in the Executive Fire Officer Program. Each and every one of them only has to complete one applied research project, and I guarantee you they all will do it. Upon that completion within 6 months, they will become a member of the EFO family. And like all families, there's responsibilities. And the responsibility of being an EFO is to live up to the standards of an EFO. And that's the standards of leadership. They'll serve with integrity. They'll continue with their philosophy of lifelong learning. And they'll give back. The idea is not to forget their roots. Their roots are planted deep here in the soil of the NFA. Do not forget your roots. Come back to your roots often. The next thing I'd like to say, and switching gears a little bit, is I have the good fortune of having a co-instructor, John Gallis. John's one of the senior instructors here at the Academy. And John, I know I'm speaking on behalf of all these officers and myself. You carried the burden of the work in this class, and we thank you very much. Thank you. So as I conclude, I'd just like to congratulate each and every one of you for a job well done. I feel honored to be in your presence. Incredible leadership throughout, all different styles, but the fire service is in good hands. I would just ask you to consider a few things as you move along. One is to give back. It's always important to give back. One is to be humble. It's important to be humble as a leader. And finally, I think, well, not finally, but second to last, public service is selfless service. We know that they put themselves last, the public and their firefighters ahead of them. The final thing I want to say is, each and every one of them will say here, hey, no man is an island. they got here through the benefits of others, through the hard work of others. And those others are their families who carried the burden while they were away, their families, their friends who lent an ear, their co-workers who picked up the slack where they were gone, and of course the leadership of the NFA, which continues to champion causes on their behalf. But as you go home today, as you really engage with your families, recognize that they too share in this honor that you have today, and make sure you thank them. So with that, I'll conclude. To all of you, it's been a pleasure. Godspeed, and thank you. John?
Chief Gaines, we had the pleasure of having somebody in our class that exemplifies the new person coming in, doing the extra work, going the extra mile, and being totally accepted. And that will be my co-instructor, Mike Macy, for his very first time teaching here at the Fire Academy. We give a round of applause for him. Okay, guys, you ready? Up to the first step, please. Brian Ashton, Fire Captain, Boise Fire Department, Idaho. Ken Barnes, Assistant Chief, City of San Diego Fire Rescue, California. Jeff Bingston, Deputy Director, Mankato Fire Department, Minnesota. Mitch Brookhiser, Battalion Chief, Los Angeles County Fire Department, California. Spence Campbell, Battalion Chief, Portsmouth Fire Rescue and Emergency Services, Virginia. Dan Freeman, Battalion Chief, Durham Fire Department, North Carolina. Chris DeShant, Assistant Fire Chief, Glendale Fire Department, Arizona. Jeff Devlin, Battalion Chief, Rural Metro Fire Department, Knoxville, Tennessee. Andrew Dykes, Lieutenant, City of Monroe Fire Department, Georgia. Jeff Verdreezy, State Fire Management Officer, U.S. Interior Department, Land Management Office of Fire Aviation, Portland, Oregon. Michael Gonzalez, Airport Division Chief, Tampa Fire Rescue, Florida. Kevin Brody, Chief, Worthington Fire Protection District, Louisville, Kentucky. Tim Guffey, Fire Chief, Nightsdale Public Safety, North Carolina. Michael Hamill, Emergency Management Chief, Lansing Fire Department, Michigan. Jeremy Hansen, Deputy Chair, Fox Valley Technical College, Appleton, Wisconsin. Bruce Calder, Ship Commander, Oakley Fire Department, Ohio. Matt Lawrence, Deputy Fire Chief, Chapel Hill Fire Department, North Carolina. Nick Locicero, Assistant Chief, Tampa Fire Rescue, Florida. Keith Long, Battalion Chief, Fairmont Fire Protection District, Golden, Colorado. David Moody, Fire Chief, King George County Fire Rescue, Virginia. Ed Meade, Deputy Fire Chief, Tucson Fire Department, Arizona. Dean O'Neill, Fire Chief, Old Tomorrow Fire Rescue, Florida. Chris Terrell, Deputy Chief, Rural Metro Fire Department, Avondale, Arizona. Darrell Rosh, Fire Chief, Monroe Fire Department, Station Number 1, Wisconsin. Todd Riley, Fire Captain, Chesterfield Union Township Fire Department, Indiana. Michael Simmons, Deputy Chief, Atlanta Fire Rescue, Atlanta, Georgia. Josh Stefanchik, Deputy Chief, City of Largo, Largo Fire Rescue, Florida. Ron Stocking, Division Chief, Fullerton Bray, Fire Department, California. Nick Swinhart, Fire Chief, Amos Fire Department, Washington. Kirk Wells, Division Chief, Orange County Fire Authority, Irvine, California.